quick. Can I just talk about revival for 2 seconds, and then if you could read Matthew 26, 36 to 56. You've got a little bit of warning then. So I have come to speak to you from God's Word, which is what I want to do, but a few significant things have happened in the life of Revive. So what Sally was beginning to explain to you is that it's my privilege and honour to head up and coordinate everything we're doing together as a church of Newport to love the community. And we do lots of fun, different activities. I just have 4 quick things to say before I then turn to God's Word. The first is that we're really struggling to communicate with everybody what we're doing. And the way we're trying to tackle that challenge is by being quite good on social media. And so we have a new YouTube channel. So if you wanted to subscribe to that every 2 weeks, we've got another instalment about what's going on in the life of the church and what we're doing together to get out of our buildings and help people. We're also good on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So look up Revive Newport in those things, keep in touch, and then pray for the work that we do. The second bit of big news is that we have made the decision we're going to do Parklife this year. We had a target of £5,000. We're nearly halfway. And so we thought, yeah, that's close enough, let's do it. Money's never stopped us before. Let's just, in some respects, we're just going to, in faith, going to do it. Although we'll probably be doing some kind of fundraising bits and stuff together. So that's going to be the 15th and 16th of July, the weekend before the schools break up. A little bit different than ours, but we expect 3,000 people to come from the community, to have their face painted, to have bouncy castles, to have all that kind of stuff for free. The reason we have been able to do it for 10 years without having to ask for money. This year we are asking for money just because Revive expanded so much we just need money. The idea is that if we reach our £5,000 target this year, we won't ever have to ask money again because we've got a little system in place. So that's the situation there. The next third bit of news is that Newport Youth Cafe has now come to the end of its contract with council. And now I've gone out somewhat more alone, although we have got some money from the council, we've got some money from the Police Commissioner grant, and we've got money from people like yourselves that commit to giving £1 a week to pay for a youth worker to keep the work going, which is really good. And the final thing is, I just want to remind you that we do have a Christian bookshop which sells books. And if you wanted to pop in books and cards and gifts and Easter eggs, so if you wanted to pop in and support that, that would really help us. It's also a community cafe, but that's all I want to say about that. You'll have to ask me if you want to know any more. So let's have a Bible reading and then I'll share. So it's Matthew, if you want to get your Bibles open, Matthew 26, 36 to 56.
Has their Bibles on their phones, isn't it? Right. 36 to 56. Find it. Gethsemane. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet, not as I will, but as you will." When he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping, "Could you men not keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray, so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away, unless I drink it, may your will be done." When he came back, he again found them sleeping, because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to his disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour is near, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd, armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him." Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus replied, "Friend, do what you have come for." Then the men stepped forward, seized Jesus and arrested him. With that, one of Jesus' companions reached for his sword, drew it out and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. "Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him. "For all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen in this way?" At that time, Jesus said to the crowd, "Am I leading a rebellion, that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple court teaching, and you did not arrest me. But this has all taken place, that the writings of the prophets might be fulfilled." Then all the disciples deserted and fled.
Thanks for that, Sally. Just want to share a very simple but important message with you this morning. As Easter is one of the most significant times, as Tony said, and I just want to be a bit reflective about what Jesus did. And the message today is simple, and it's that God knows and He understands. He knows what you're going through, and He understands. We don't worship a God who is distant, who is up in heaven, that has never been human, that has never experienced some of the things that we've experienced. We believe in a God that has come here, that has lived a life, 33 years on this earth. He's come, he's gone through it, he's got the t-shirt, as it were. He knows, He understands. Whatever you've been through, whatever you're feeling, whatever emotions that you have been going through just this week, He understands, He gets it. Hebrews 4 verse 15 says this: "For we do not have a high priest," talking about Jesus, "who is unable to empathise with our weakness. But we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet without sin." He is able to not just sympathise with you, but He's able to empathise with you. Another way of interpreting empathise is suffer with. It says Jesus is able to suffer with you. He's able to sympathise, to empathise with you, because He knows, because He understands, He gets it. He's been on earth. And if you read through the Bible and see all the things that, you can read lots and lots of things that Jesus experienced as a man. While He was on earth, that wasn't that great. I'll just, because it's Easter, I want to focus on Gethsemane and what we learn about Jesus and what He went through for us, for you. The first thing is He was overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. That's what Jesus said to His disciples: "I'm overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." He understands and He knows. Have you ever been overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death? Can you imagine knowing that you're about to be whipped and beaten, knowing that you're about to be crucified, go through however long of agony? If you've seen the Passion the Christ, you kind of just gives you, in an hour and a half, what actually took a day of what he went through. He knew what he was about to go through. He was suffering in an amazing way. I don't know if you've ever been tempted to do something wrong, and then you've actually done something wrong, and then you feel guilty afterwards. You feel horrible. You know that the weight of sin can be horrible. So I have enough dealing with my own sin. I don't want your sin on me, or your sin on me, or your sin on me. Jesus took on the weight of sin of the whole world. He took on the weight of sin for the whole world. He really wasn't doing very well here, was he? He was, as you can imagine why he said, I am overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. In Luke chapter 22 verse 44, their version, Luke's version of the Gethsemane, it says, being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like drops of blood falling down from the ground. Have you ever been so stressed and so overwhelmed by sorrow that you're sweating, not just water but drops of blood? And that's Luke, as we know, was a doctor, so he gave you a scientific element of what was going on, so we can appreciate just how much Jesus was going through, overwhelmed to the point of death. He went through that for us. He knows and he understands. The other thing that I really pick up from this passage is that Jesus was completely abandoned by all of the people that he spent 3 years loving and caring for. I was a youth worker, and you'd have a youth group of 3 years, or 5 years, and you see them maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and you do Bible studies. You feel you kind of know them, you try and teach them, and you try and invest time, and you want them to do well. Jesus was with these people 24/7. He ate with them, he slept with them, he taught them, and at the last minute, when he was in his drunkest minute, they all left him. They all abandoned him. You know, he'd been hinting since he started with them, look, I'm going to have to die. I'm going to have to suffer. My time is not yet here, but it is going to happen at some point. And then in verse 18 of chapter 26, he was telling them, actually, my time is near. My time is near. A little bit of a hint that something's going to happen. And then he did the Passover with them and reinterpreted that, saying, actually, this is my body broken for you. This is my blood shed for you. Again, a little hint that something was going to come up, that he was going to be suffering. And then he said to them, and then he knew, because he knew what was going to happen, he quoted Zechariah 13 verse 7 to them, which says, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered, saying that you're all going to abandon me. He said to Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times. He said to Judas, you're going to betray me. All his disciples left him. He said, look, my soul, if I said this to you, look, please pray for me, my soul is, I'm in sorrow to the point of death. You know, you'd think, oh man, he's really going through something. But no, the disciples fell asleep. 3 times he went back. The last time he didn't even bother waking them up, because he just he was left. Jesus was abandoned by all the people that he loved and cared for. He was alone. I don't know if you've ever felt like that. I don't know if you've ever felt like you're the only person, that nobody cares, that no one's there for you. I don't know if you've ever just been so overwhelmed with life is difficult. I've had difficult times in my life. Times I've been just constantly put down, and constantly just having to tread on eggshells because you don't feel like people don't like you very much. Constantly just, going through difficult times, going through divorce, going through separation, going through being single pretty much most of my life until I was 38. And just seeing all your friends get married and all that, all these little things. Sometimes you feel like you're alone. Sometimes you feel like you can't do things. But do you know what? Those sufferings that I've gone through help me identify with the people that I work with. When I'm sat talking to someone at a food bank or someone sharing with me, I can't empathise like Jesus can, but it does help. And it helps that God has gone through it for us and with us. That he understands, that he knows, and that he cares. And that's what I want to share with you. That's all I want to share with you. Do you remember feeling really hurt? Do you remember feeling like such anger because of injustice, of what's going on? Just crying, bawling your eyes out? Do you remember just feeling like you're left alone? Being abandoned? Or do you remember feeling anguish? God completely understands because he's been there and he did it without sin. Sometimes we can, when we're feeling really down, we're feeling low, we can turn to sin, it can make us feel better for a little bit. But he didn't turn to sin, he didn't turn away, he just looked to God. And as a consequence, he sweated with drops of blood and ultimately was crucified. Jesus understands. He wants to hold your hand through what you're going through. He wants to carry you. He wants to teach you through it. He wants to lead you through it. He promises that he will never leave you or forsake you. You know, he warns us that this is a difficult world, that we will suffer, that we will have difficult times, that we will struggle, we will have ups and downs. He doesn't say that it's going to be easy. And sometimes being a Christian is even harder. Sometimes the weight of living for Jesus, helping other people, is just too much. But living for God is the only way. And the reason is because Jesus did it for you. He went through that suffering, he went through that pain because he loves you, he cares for you, and he's desperate to have a relationship with you. And so the only response that I can have, knowing what Jesus has done for me, is just give him my whole life. The only response I can have is live for him with everything I've got. To go through the suffering, to go through the pain, to go through the anguish of leading something like Revive, and the sleepless nights, when this is going wrong and that's going wrong, going through the ups and downs of like wanting to just look after myself and just have like a lone day, when really thinking actually there's suffering. You know, when you meet with people that are suffering, you get connected, it hurts, it helps. You have to help. You want to help because you can see that God wants to do that. The last thing I want to just kind of, as a side point really, but sometimes the church is great. I love the church. It's really, really important to be part of the church. But we are, as a church, are emulating what it means to know God. We're not replacing God. So I could spend the rest of my life following you around, looking after you, singing to your every need, and it wouldn't be enough. It just wouldn't be enough. Me committing my whole life to looking after you is not going to be enough. You're always going to be in need. Plus, you probably get annoyed with me. And to be frank, I get annoyed with you too. That's just the reality of it. That's how it is. You know, we need God. We need the church because it does love and support us. But we can't always be there for each other. We're going for our own stuff. We're going for our own broken stuff. You know, we might look like we've got it together, start standing at the front, speaking to you from God's word. I might not, probably don't, but I might. But I haven't, you know, I haven't got it all together. I can't help very many people. I can't help myself sometimes. And sometimes I don't feel like getting out of bed or doing anything, you know, but because life is hard, right?
That's right, amen.
What I want to come back to is God knows, he understands. He's been through it. He left heaven. He left eternity of community to go through that suffering, to experience what we've experienced. So he can say, come on, we can do this together. I can hold your hand. And so I just want to encourage us to turn to Jesus in everything. Because we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathise with our weakness. But we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet without sin. So let me just pray, and then